All right, welcome to your personalized deep dive. Sounds like you're ready to really explore holistic health.
Yeah.
Maybe you're, like a total wellness enthusiast. Maybe you're a health professional, or maybe you're just starting to think about living a more balanced life.
Yeah.
Either way, get ready because this deep dive is going to equip you to navigate the world of holistic health. And guess what?
What?
Did you know that being able to discuss it in English opens up like a whole global community and tons of resources?
It does. It's amazing. It's like this secret language that unlocks all this knowledge.
I like that. I like that. Okay, so before we unlock that treasure chest of knowledge, let's just start with the basics. Like, what exactly is holistic health?
Yeah. Well, at its core, it's this understanding that well-being is so much more than just not being sick.
Right.
It's about nurturing the connection between your mind, your body, and your spirit.
So one of our sources defines it as an approach to wellness that considers the whole person mind, body, and spirit. It really emphasizes that interconnectedness. I've always struggled with meditation.
Yeah.
My mind just races like a mile a minute. But when I started incorporating mindful breathing, even just for a few minutes every day, I noticed a huge difference in my stress levels.
That's a perfect example of how even small changes can have like a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Mindfulness isn't about emptying your mind. It's about just acknowledging those thoughts and kind of gently redirecting your focus.
Okay.
There's actually this fascinating study that I read that found that practicing mindfulness for just 10 minutes a day can be just as effective as like a 45-minute session.
Wow.
It's not about duration, it's about consistency.
So it's like building a mental muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. And those benefits go beyond just stress reduction. Studies have shown that mindfulness can improve your focus, it can boost your creativity, even strengthen your immune system.
Wow, I had no idea about the immune system connection.
Yeah.
See, this is why I love these deep dives. I'm always learning something new. Speaking of new things, let's talk about the language of holistic health. Like, why is it so important to be able to discuss this in English?
Well, think of English as like the universal language of wellness,
Okay.
It allows you to tap into this global community of experts in research and resources. Like imagine being able to connect with a yoga instructor in India or a nutritionist in Australia or a mindfulness coach in the UK, all through the power of a shared language.
That opens up so many possibilities. I mean, you could join online forums, participate in international workshops, or even access cutting-edge research that might not be available in your native language.
It's like having a backstage pass to the global wellness movement.
All right, I'm ready for my backstage pass. Let's dive into some of the essential vocabulary, shall we?
Let's do it.
I know we already touched on mindfulness, but there's so many other key terms that are helpful to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start with wellness, which really encompasses like everything we're talking about today. One source defines it as the state of being in good health, especially as an actively pursued goal.
Okay, so it's not just about being healthy, but actively working towards it.
Exactly, yeah. It's about taking ownership of your health and happiness.
I like that.
Another important term is self-care, which I feel like it's thrown around a lot these days, but, it's more than just like bubble baths and face masks.
Yeah.
Our sources define it as activities that you do to take care of your mental, emotional, and physical health.
So it's about recognizing what you need to feel balanced and making those things a priority. It could be anything. It could be a walk in nature. It could be reading a book. It could be spending time with loved ones.
Yeah.
Or even just saying no to something that drains your energy.
Yeah, exactly. It's about setting boundaries and filling your cup so you can show up as your best self.
I think a lot of people struggle with self-care because they feel guilty or selfish.
Yeah.
But it's not selfish. It's essential.
You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Taking care of yourself allows you to show up more fully for other people.
So true. So true. Now let's talk about alternative therapies, which is a term that covers like a wide range of practices.
Right.
Our source defines it as treatments outside of conventional medicine, such as acupuncture or yoga.
Yeah, it's about exploring different approaches to healing and well-being, often focusing on natural and holistic methods.
Okay.
These therapies can be used alongside conventional medicine or as standalone practices.
It's interesting because, some people view alternative therapies with skepticism, while others swear by them.
Absolutely. That's why it's so important to approach them with an open mind and do your research.
Yeah.
Talk to qualified practitioners, read reputable sources, and most importantly, listen to your own body.
That's great advice. It's about finding what works for you, not just blindly following trends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach to holistic health. Now, let's unpack a term that I think a lot of people are curious about: detox.
Okay.
Our sources define it as the process of removing toxins from the body.
Hmm.
You'll often hear it associated with like fad diets or cleanses, but the reality is our bodies are incredibly efficient at detoxifying themselves naturally.
They are.
Our liver, our kidneys, our skin, even our lungs, they're constantly working to eliminate those waste products.
Yeah, we have a built-in detox system.
So those juice cleanses and like colonics might not be as necessary as some people think.
Exactly. A healthy diet, plenty of water, regular exercise are far more effective at supporting your body's natural detoxification process.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about nourishing your body from the inside out,
Mm-hmm.
not punishing it with extreme measures.
And remember, if you're considering any kind of detox program, always best to consult with a healthcare professional.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground already, but there's still a few more essential terms we need to tackle.
Yeah, let's do it.
Nutrition is next on the list, and it's a big one. Our sources define it as the process of providing or obtaining the food necessary for health and growth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much more than just calories in, calories out.
Oh, absolutely.
It's about understanding how the food we eat impacts our physical, mental, and even emotional well-being.
Exactly. It's about making conscious choices to fuel your body with nutrient-rich foods that support your overall health.
Okay, and finally, we have stress management, a term that I think resonates with everyone in today's, fast-paced world.
Yeah, definitely.
Our sources define it as using techniques to cope with and reduce stress. We all experience stress. It's a natural part of life. But chronic stress can take a huge toll on our health, mentally and physically.
For sure.
So it's about finding healthy coping mechanisms that work for you.
Exactly. It could be anything. It could be exercise, meditation, spending time in nature, listening to music. The key is to find what helps you de-stress and make it a regular part of your routine.
I find that even just taking a few deep breaths when I'm feeling overwhelmed can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. Even small, consistent actions can have a cumulative effect. So now that we've laid the groundwork with some essential vocabulary, are you ready to start using these terms in conversation?
I think so.
Because that's where the real magic happens.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, yeah, it's like we've given you all the ingredients,
Right.
and now it's time to cook up some delicious conversations.
I love that analogy. But I'll admit, I sometimes feel a little awkward, bringing up holistic health in conversations.
Yeah.
It can feel a little, I don't know, woo-woo for some people.
I understand. It's all about finding the right approach and kind of gauging the other person's interests. You don't have to launch into a whole lecture on chakras and energy fields,
Right. So how can we weave these terms into everyday conversations in a natural way?
Okay, so let's say, you're chatting with a colleague and they mention that they're feeling really stressed out. You could say something like, have you tried any stress management techniques? I've found that even taking a few minutes to, just focus on my breath can really help.
That's a great example. It's subtle, yet it opens the door for them to share their experience or ask questions.
Exactly. Or imagine you're at a dinner party and someone asks you about your hobbies. You could say, well, I'm really interested in holistic health. I've been exploring different ways to prioritize my well-being, trying out new recipes with a focus on nutrition.
That sounds so much more approachable than saying, I'm obsessed with kale smoothies and detoxifying my liver.
Right. It's about finding that sweet spot between being authentic and reading the room.
Okay, that makes sense. But what if someone challenges my views on holistic health?
Yeah.
What if they're like, that alternative therapy stuff is all a bunch of nonsense?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's important to remember that, not everyone will share your perspective, and that's totally okay. You don't need to convince anyone. You could simply say something like, I understand your skepticism. It's definitely important to be discerning and do your research. For me, it's been a positive experience, but everyone's journey is different.
That's a great way to acknowledge their opinion while still, standing firm in your own beliefs.
Exactly. It's not about, winning an argument or anything. It's about sharing your experience and respecting theirs.
So we've talked about how to, initiate conversations about holistic health. But what about when you're on the listening end?
Yeah, active listening is so crucial. Ask open-ended questions like, what are some self-care practices that work for you? Or, I'm curious to hear more about your experience with acupuncture. That shows genuine interest, and it encourages them to share more.
It's about creating a space for dialogue and mutual learning. Because even if you don't agree with everything someone's saying, you can still gain valuable insights from their perspective.
Absolutely. Every conversation is an opportunity to expand your understanding of holistic health.
Okay, this has been so helpful. I feel much more confident about discussing these topics now. But let's be honest, learning new vocabulary and phrases is just the first step.
Yeah.
How can our listener really, delve deeper into the world of holistic health?
That's where the real fun begins. There are so many incredible resources available these days.
Like what? Give us the inside scoop.
Well, for starters, there are countless wellness blogs and websites that offer everything from evidence-based articles to really inspiring personal stories. A couple of my favorites are Mind, Body, Green, and Well Plus Good. They cover a wide range of topics, everything from nutrition and fitness to mindfulness and spirituality.
Oh, I love those sites. They're always sharing fascinating new research and trends. It's like having a personal wellness coach, at your fingertips.
Exactly. And if you're looking for a more interactive experience, there are tons of online communities that are dedicated to holistic health. You can find groups on Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, where people are sharing tips, supporting each other, and even organizing meetups and things like that.
That's such a great way to connect with like-minded people and learn from their experiences.
It's like having a virtual support group for your wellness journey. And if you're looking for a more structured approach to learning, there are plenty of online courses and workshops that are available.
So you could deep dive into a specific area,
Yeah.
like aromatherapy or Ayurveda.
Exactly. You can find courses taught by leading experts in their fields, and a lot of them offer certifications upon completion.
Wow, you could even turn your passion for holistic health into a career.
Absolutely. The possibilities are endless. And of course, don't forget about the power of books.
Ah, yes. There's nothing like curling up with a good book on a rainy day. Any recommendations?
There are so many great ones out there. It really depends on your specific interests. But a few classics that I always recommend are Mindfulness for Beginners by John Kabat-Zinn, The Body Ecology Diet by Donna Gates, and Eastern Body, Western Mind by Anodea Judith.
Those are all fantastic choices. I've read a couple of those myself, and they're incredibly insightful.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got blogs, online communities, courses, books. It's a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
Any advice on where to start?
Don't try to do everything at once.
Okay.
Choose one resource that resonates with you and start there.
Yeah.
It could be a blog post, a podcast episode, a chapter in a book, or even just a conversation with a friend who shares your interest in holistic health. The key is to take small, consistent steps and enjoy the process of discovery.
It's about making it a part of your lifestyle, not a chore on your to-do list.
Exactly. Holistic health is a journey, not a destination.
And remember, there's no right or wrong way to approach it. It's about finding what works for you and honoring your own unique path to well-being. Yeah, it really is a journey, and I feel like this deep dive has given our listener a fantastic map to navigate that journey.
Yeah, we've equipped them with a compass of knowledge, the core concepts, the essential vocabulary, even some tips for, steering those conversations.
Exactly. Now it's up to them to kind of chart their own course.
Oh.
But before we wrap up, I'd love to just circle back to that core idea of holistic health being about the mind, body, and spirit.
The trifecta. And I think it's the spirit part that often gets overlooked, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think you're right. People tend to focus on the physical diet, exercise, or maybe dabble in some mindfulness for the mental side of things.
Right.
But what about nourishing the spirit? What does that even mean?
It's a bit more nebulous for sure.
Yeah.
But for me, it's about connecting to something larger than yourself.
Okay.
Whether that's through nature or art or music or faith or even acts of service.
That resonates with me. It's about finding that sense of purpose, meaning, and connection.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as simple as, spending time in nature, listening to music that moves you, or volunteering in your community.
Those are all such great ways to cultivate that sense of inner peace and fulfillment.
Oh.
So as we send our listener off on their holistic health journey, I want to leave them with a little challenge.
Ooh, I love a good challenge.
All right, I challenge you to incorporate one small act of, we'll call it spirit nourishing, into your week.
Okay.
Something that brings you joy, connects you to something bigger than yourself, and leaves you feeling, energized and inspired.
What a beautiful way to end this deep dive. It's a reminder that holistic health isn't just about, what we consume or how much we exercise. It's about cultivating a sense of wholeness and purpose in every aspect of our lives.
Beautifully said. So to our listener, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep nurturing that beautiful connection between your mind, your body, and your spirit.
Happy exploring.